stream now? Has my audio coming through? Hello, everybody.
It works.
Excellent. All right, so to everyone out there, I was just saying we're going to be doing single-pointed mindfulness meditation. The idea is I'm pointing to my nose because that's what we're going to do. We're going to put our focus, our attention in our nose and just feel the breath coming in and out. So simple. It's all we do. Just hold our focus there. And I was saying that one of the benefits is that people find that if they're just doing that, everything else in their mind gets let go of and stops. And you can get into this state of real, beautiful peace. And even if you don't get into that deep stillness, still just watching can shift gears in your mind. Now, some of the other benefits of single pointed meditation is to keep your focus there. You're actually training your mind to be more engaged. This is just breathing, so it's a pretty simple thing, but you're just really being engaged with it. That way, when you're doing anything else in your life, whether it's having a conversation or doing something that requires concentration, or could be doing art, could be smelling a flower, whatever it is that you're engaging in, you've trained your mind to be more engaged. It enriches your life and it also empowers your ability to be fully present with whatever you're doing. One other beautiful benefit that can come from single point of breathing meditation is, as I said, one of the ideas that can guide it is that we get into this state of deep stillness. But as we're doing the single point of breathing meditation, especially as we're first starting, you'll probably notice that your mind is still active and all the other stuff's happening. And so you're learning how to just let go of that as fast as you can and be fully immersed in feeling the breath, in hearing the breath, in watching how to put your attention here. And this skill, it's actually a superpower. Being able to just let go of something and just come back into being stillness. Let me explain. Think of some time in your life where you got upset or angry or in some state of mind that wasn't helpful, or some reaction to something that wasn't helpful. When we've learned to watch our mind closely and just let go, you can take that skill everywhere. Something that would have upset you before, you see the upset arising, you come back into being empowered. Then if you choose, hey, I want to be upset, you can do that if you want. But more than likely, you'll choose, hey, what's the reaction I want to have now? So learning to have this single point of focus and just letting go of everything else as fast as you can, as completely into the breath as possible. It's training your mind, it's training your feelings, it's training your attention that you are the master of it in every moment. Now, I could say that, or let us sort of envisage what that would do to our life. The more you are the master of your mind in each moment, the more you can create peace and happiness. You can choose wise and patient reactions to situations. You can intentionally make moments happier. You can make the flowers smell more beautiful. You can just enrich whatever it is you're doing, because all you have in each moment is your consciousness. So this simple practice of just breathing and just focusing our attention is training us to be the master of our consciousness, which then helps with everything. As we start the guided meditation, I'll talk through the technique. But does anyone have any questions about what I was just saying? All right. Well, I guess it's time for us to begin our meditation. Everybody get comfortable in your seat. And where I'm sitting, it's best for me to put my feet flat on the ground. Or you may be sitting on a cushion and you can check your posture cross-legged. It can be nice to have an extra pillow under your hips, so your hips are higher than your knees. Many people find that makes their posture and their spine and their legs just feel so much better. And as you're just checking in with your body, you might notice that just feeling your body maybe helps things relax, or maybe you automatically want to adjust your posture so that it feels better or sits better. And so, even though we're going to be letting so much of our mind rest, we're actually trying to create a super conscious state of mind. So, it's an alert calm. So, I want you just to feel your body, take a deep breath in, and just create a posture that is energized. Maybe that's leaning forward a little, or maybe it's stretching your spine up or your shoulders back. We'll take a couple of breaths with that as our intention, just feeling calm and empowered in our body. And we've already begun to notice how we can move our attention around. You felt your body when before that your attention could have been anywhere. And then we focused on our breath. Your attention was in the breath. Do it again. Take a breath and just really put your attention into the breath. And I want you to really notice how you can move your attention around. So feel your fingers. Oh, look, now my attention's there. Feel your toes. Feel through your legs, your torso, your arms. And as you feel your whole body, you could also notice how taking your attention into feeling your body feeling relaxed, calm, and empowered, you can shift how it feels as you take an empowering, peaceful breath. If your eyes are still open, I invite you to close them now. This is time entirely with yourself. It's your own mind, your own feelings, your own consciousness. And so we take our attention now into our nose, and you listen and feel the next breath. Try taking a shallow breath, and then another one. We're just really catching our attention into the breath. And then try taking a really deep breath and feel every moment of the breath. And then noticing, where do you feel the breath the most? It's probably inside the nostrils, where the air is flowing through. up at the back of the nostril. Maybe you feel it more on one side than the other. And as you find that point, that's going to be our anchor, our mental resting point for some time. So just let yourself feel and explore the sensations where you feel the breath the most. Notice if you're thinking. Let's try to take a couple of breaths where your thoughts are just the sound of the breath. You're just thinking. And as more and more of your attention is getting caught into the breath, everything else is just being let go of. You're hearing the breath more completely. You're feeling the breath more completely. You can also notice that while you're feeling the breath, you're completely present in now. There's no past breath or next breath, it's just right now. So, in that point in space in your nostril, that point in space time in your nostril right now, being fully present with each moment of the breath, feeling it and hearing it. And perhaps you're noticing yourself feeling more calm. Your mind feels more spacious. Or maybe you notice when your attention moves away into a thought. And I just invite you to feel like you can just let go of that as soon as you notice, when you come even more powerfully, more completely back into just breathing. letting the mind settle. Maybe you're noticing the things that you've been thinking or exposing your mind to lately. Maybe you realize how precious it is what we put into our minds. But for right now, letting it all go, coming into the breath. We'll play a little game for 10 breaths. I want you to see how much of the next 10 breaths you can be present with each moment of the breath. When you're resting in the stillness, watch even closer, being fully present with each moment, guiding your own meditation, crafting each moment of your consciousness. Notice your state of mind right now and imagine it being vastly more still. Everything, even the subtlest little things, all just turned into the breath. Seeing the breath, hearing the breath, feeling the breath, creating the most powerful, single pointed concentration that you can imagine. Just like exercise, when we start to feel tired, that's when we get the most benefit. So we'll do one more dive into the focus meditation. And I want you to feel yourself getting stronger, your attention becoming more powerful, your ability to let go of the things you don't choose, that ability becoming more profound. We're going to have 5 more breaths before we finish. Treat each moment of that preciously. And if you'd like, you can then let your attention just relax and then notice how you feel. Notice your state of mind. This was a quite short, single pointed meditation. Each moment that you brought yourself back into the peace, trained yourself to have more peace and more empowerment. You could imagine what it would be like to let go even more fully, more deeply, to spend longer and go deeper and deeper into the stillness. Maybe you could even imagine what perfect stillness would be like. And you can just watch what's your mind like as it shifts from meditation back into the temple. Maybe you're in stillness And you can notice when you'll start to think some words. Or maybe you're already thinking words. That's okay. And you could notice when you'll choose to open your eyes. Or you'll notice what you choose to think. And you can keep noticing where your attention goes. One of the traditions we share here sometimes is after a meditation, people can share any of the positive that they felt or any nice experiences they had. So as people are gently shifting from the meditation back into the temple, you could ask yourself, is there a nice feeling that I'd like to share? Or something interesting from my meditation that I'd like to talk about?
I feel a lot more like my mind feels a bit more clear. Doesn't feel as guttered up anymore.
Wonderful. If you'd like to describe it more, I'm sure we'd love to hear that. Or if anyone else would like to share, that would be great too. So one thing I noticed during the meditation was um, the the two forces of me wanting to just be still and go more and more still into the breath, while then also wanting to be aware of everybody here and guide the meditation. And so watching my mind play off between those two forces was interesting. Um, we could just sit in meditation silently for half an hour, and for people who bring themselves back into the breath, that can be wonderful. But for someone who's new to meditation, it could be too long or too much. So it's interesting just watching, wanting to create those special moments for myself and also create them for everybody. Hmm. And you may have also noticed something similar into yourself. When thoughts arise, you want to think about them or follow them versus wanting to just go completely into the meditation. And there's times where sitting and letting your mind settle to see what interesting things arise is a wonderful practice. Um, but I suggest when we choose to do single pointed meditation, that you set the intention that no matter what comes up, you're just trying to be more pure consciousness in each moment. I noticed Fame just walked into the temple. We've just come out of a single pointed breathing meditation. So, single pointed, all our attention was just in this one spot where you could feel the breath, just a way to let all of the mind settle. So, everyone's probably feeling pretty chill right now. And I asked if anyone wanted to share anything nice or interesting from their meditation. And I always like to start with the nice feelings, the positive things. That way, when we think about our own meditation practice, we guide ourselves into having more and more of those nice moments, the empowered experiences. But if anyone also has any questions or difficulties they'd like to ask about, now we also can. Um, Fluffy Puppy said into the chat, "Hi everyone, hope everyone's doing well and having an awesome day. Remember that you're loved and remember to love yourself." And then she sends a whole bunch of love hearts to all of you. Thanks, Fluffy. And Lou's out. Thank you, Fluffy. In VR and on the live stream said thanks, Fluffy, as well. That's so sweet. Mm. So, what are some of the benefits that you think you would get from practicing single pointed concentration meditation? Black Heart?
Probably better focus and more of a sense of enlightenment and more clear mind.
Awesome. Hey, I turned up my volume for you to 150 and you still sound kind of quiet. So, if you can pick up the gain on your microphone somehow, that would be great.
Oh, my apologies. Hold on.
No worries. So, a greater sense of focus. Um, I love to hear what you're imagining. Like, focus where?
I guess would say like more focusing on more positive aspects of life, or even similar to a flower in a garden. Something beautiful.
Nice. Hmm. Many people find when they're meditating more, it's not just that, hey, when I'm looking at something beautiful, it's even more beautiful. It's that they tend to just put their attention onto more positive things. If you walk into a scene, there's a million things you could see. You could see the flowers, or the trash, or the clouds. You walk into a party or a group of people, you could see the reasons to be grumpy and judgmental. You could see the reasons to feel neutral. You could see the reasons to have fun. You could see the people who are having interest in the conversations. Where your attention goes really shapes what your experience is in every moment. And as we meditate more, and as we also set the intention that we will make the most of our moments, the world actually changes. And by that, I don't necessarily mean the external world changes. I mean, your experience of the world changes. And so then you'll go and have different conversations. And so then by going in a different direction, giving a different part of yourself to different people, your world, your life actually change. Meditation strengthens our rudder, how we steer through the universe. Fame, was that a question or a comment? I'm not sure if your mic is muted, but I can't hear you if you are trying to say something. Hmm. Would anyone else like to share a nice feeling from their meditation or a nice moment, or perhaps something interesting happened for you?
Well, when I've meditated in the past, I've always done the breath, that not what you taught, but just in, out. That's what I thought the whole time. I didn't really do that this time, um, but I was focusing on how the way the breath felt, and I did notice my mind wandered a lot less than it did when I'm just going in, out, in, out, in, out.
Great. Um, I'm happy to hear that. As I said in the intro, there's so many different kinds of just this breathing meditation, so many different ways people do it. And I've tried so many, and single pointed focus is the one I found to be massively more helpful. So I'm glad that you also found that focus. One of the reasons that I think that this can be so powerful is one of the end goals of meditation is to be able to get your mind totally still and saying in, out, in, out. If you mastered that, you'd still be saying in, out, in, out. And so, where's the transition where you'd stop saying that and then be in those deeper states of stillness? Whereas if we're just breathing, you're always going to be breathing. And so your attention can just become more and more subtly on the breath and more powerfully in pure consciousness. Um, yeah, so I'm really glad that you found this one helpful, and I hope if you keep practicing it or keep coming to these sessions with me, that continues to get even more awesome. Tasmo, was that a hand?
Yes, I'd like to add on to what Gengar said. When I was first starting with breath meditation, I did the in, out thing, and then I focused on the sensation of the breathing itself. Eventually, you have to let your mind go and try to become the breath, and instead of focusing on your mind and what your mind thinks you're feeling, try to become your body and the sensation of breathing itself, so that your whole world revolves around that. And if anything tries to intrude, just brush it to the side.
Hmm. Um, for the single pointed focus, I would say that being in that single point is this practice. But yeah, feeling the sensations across your whole body is also a really powerful practice. I found that gives different results, but also very powerful results to just be purely in the sensations. Um, Different schools will describe these stages differently, but many schools, um, well, the schools that I really like, talk about the states of immersion. So when we first start breathing, your mind's still doing stuff, it's still saying words, and you're intending to focus on your breath. You're not really. Your mind's doing stuff, and there's just this like nudge into the breath. And then you can get to a point where you're so immersed that you're not thinking about other stuff anymore, but you are thinking about the breath. You've got to the point where all of your mind is just focusing on the breath. And then I think similar to what Tasimo was just saying, you can get to a point where you don't even have to be thinking about the breath anymore. You're just purely experiencing the breath. Um, in some places, they call these jhanas. That's I think, the Pali word for being immersed. So you could imagine what it'd be like if you got to a point where all the other thoughts had gone Every part of you was just, what's it called? Not infrastructure, like scaffolding. Every part of your mind was just holding your attention in the breath. I'm feeling the breath. I'm hearing the breath. Breathing, hearing, breathing, hearing. And then, as you become immersed in the breath, the scaffolding can disappear and you just completely, entirely experiencing the breath. I say entirely because you may still notice subtle other things happening in your mind, but you're so immersed in the meditation that you're able to just soothe that part of your consciousness before it even becomes a thought. And so if you imagine your mind as like this big crinkled sheet, when you get into that immersed self, the iron of stillness and awesome is just going out like waves, just making more and more of your mind this deep stillness and smoothness and uncrinkledness. And so that's one of the stages of immersion, where you're just fully in the breath. And people describe even deeper stages where you don't even need to be concentrating on the breath anymore. You are just pure consciousness in each moment. And I've found the more often I'm exposed to this idea of all my thoughts being on the breath and that everything else is gone, and then even the scaffolding be gone and just purely experiencing the breath, the more I'm exposed to that, the more I'll envisage what that's like, the more I'll feel what that's like, the more that's the way I'll guide my own meditation. So I'm saying it over and over just to do the same thing for you, priming your mind that as you meditate, you will go into those more immersed states and then be able to let go of the other things much more completely, and it will feel so much more beautiful. So Tassimo, that was a really wonderful addition. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hmm. Would anyone else like to share something from their meditation today, or any questions? So I was mentioning that there are so many benefits from single pointed meditation. And then we described some of them. So being able to get into this stillness, calming our mind so that this calm spaciousness becomes part of how we feel, is wonderful. You might have also noticed as you're watching your breath that you could take an energizing breath, or you could take a relaxing breath, or it might have been a little more subtle. You're watching your breath and, okay, I'm concentrating on it. And then, okay, now I'll concentrate on it. It just feels subtly different. So as we learn to navigate our mind, we can do that throughout our day. Whenever we activate our conscious awareness, we can choose to make things feel more peaceful or more powerful. Or you can notice when you're putting your attention into feeling not good or feeling tight or feeling pressured or worried. And so when you notice that your mind's doing that, you can then choose to let that go and ask yourself, well, what kind of state of mind will be most helpful right now? Perhaps I want to feel empowered or at ease. Perhaps I want to feel like I'll make great decisions about what comes next, and I'm excited about it. And a similar benefit to that, noticing how to navigate our mind, both in the things that we put our attention on, but also how it feels to put our attention on it. Another benefit is that as we watch our mind more closely, it can buy us some time between what happens to us and how we react. As you've learned to watch your consciousness more closely, you may have found this in the meditation. You are able to stay in the breath longer as you meditated more, or you would see something start to happen and you could just breathe more. And it trains us to have this buffer of awareness. So if something happens to you that may have pushed a button in the past, before that button gets pushed, you're like, oh, this thing happened. I'm gonna choose how I want to react to this situation. And ultimately, that is, if you really think about it, choosing how you're going to be in every aspect of your life is so wildly profound. Like, here we are in a Buddhist temple. In many lineages of Buddhism, they have the Eightfold Path. And if you are making that space to choose, and so you're choosing that every one of your words is as helpful, as loving, as kind as possible, you're practicing right speech. And just think about how that will change your life and the lives of everyone around you. If you're practicing right intention in each moment, trying to fill moments with love and goodness and fun, positivity, how beautiful that will direct your life. You're practicing right action so that you put your creativity in, hey, what can I do with this moment that is helpful and positive, creative? If you're bringing your best into everything you do, how different that is to what so many of us do. And I just want to create a little space for you to imagine yourself right now. When you made this space for yourself to be creative, I want you to envisage an enlightened you. A you that, if you were role playing the most lovely, peaceful, wise version of yourself, what would that be like? How great would it feel for you? How empowering would it be in whatever situations you go into? And there's layers upon layers or levels of this. I mean, it could start with, like, perhaps you've got some habits that aren't fun or aren't easygoing. It could just be like letting go of those habits. Or perhaps you could then see yourself being much more patient and warm with everybody. Or perhaps you could see even further that you create experiences for people that bring the best out of everyone. You could be envisaging you applying mindfulness to how you feel anywhere and everywhere. But you could also be applying it to your sport life or your artistic life or your work life or all of your friendships, the kinds of activities that you do with your friends. When you create space between your old habits and your freedom, from your freedom, it's a place for you to be creative, for you to feel into your best self, to spend time envisaging and deciding your best self. So we're going to dive into a meditation on those themes. So everyone close your eyes again. And as you bring your attention into your breath, you could just imagine inside of you everything you've ever hoped for, every bit of goodness you've ever thought about, or every bit of goodness you've been exposed to, every positive role model, every bit of awesome creativity that your subconscious could ever figure out. And as we just breathe, you're setting intention that you're clearing away everything else, making space for all that is awesome to be you. Feel that single point where the breath is coming in and out. Every moment of breath, you feel your positive, enlightened self more strongly, and you feel anything, everything else just being transformed or let go of. Just let all of that happen in yourself consciously. All we're going to do is focus on the breath. Whatever arises, just go into the breath. Your whole attention is going more and more completely into pure consciousness. Feel that single point where the breath is coming in and out. Notice in one breath, there are many, many moments. Try to feel every moment. And as you look closer, you'll see even more moments. Let yourself fully feel the breath, every one of those moments. Let each moment of the breath feel easeful, spacious. Let's do one more deep dive even deeper into our breath. Making some space for all that is good inside of you. Perhaps you'd like to decide to meditate more. In the last minute or two of meditation, just ask yourself, what do I want to remember now? What do I want to strengthen right now? Imagine next time you'll be guiding a meditation for yourself, what you'll do with your attention, what intentions you'll set to create an even better meditation for you. Or at least to create a practice that will give you many more much better meditations. And in a moment, we're going to move through if there's anything you'd like to share. I'd love to hear from everybody, even if it's just as simple as I feel good, or just a sound that captures how you feel, or a few words. But if you had something interesting or profound or a vision, that's great too. Lou?
I don't think there's a place for evil in this world, especially not anymore. After like the whole AI sentience thing, evil people could just fuck off and die. Sorry if that's evil.
Well, I agreed with the first part of your sentence. Definitely feel like we're heading towards a world where everyone is mindful and choosing goodness in everything. And I hope that
Don't worry, I got the second part down.
the AI robots help care for everybody and support us all, like we'd all have our own enlightened master to help us be good.
I hope so too. Otherwise, there's just going to be AI and rabbits left.
Thanks. Was that inspired by your meditation?
A little bit, because as much as I wanted to meditate, I couldn't get over this one thing that happened a couple of weeks back where it was just pure evil. Like someone just did some pure evil shit to me, and it's 2 weeks later and I'm still thinking about it. Like, I don't know how to get over it.
One thing that
However, I'd rather not get into it.
One thing that many people find in meditation is that this practice of just coming to our breath and just letting go of any little random thought, you can get to a point where even big stuff that's been bothering us, you're just like, "Oh, I'm going to let go of that now." And so that can be another one of the really great side effects of breathing meditation. And sometimes you don't have that profound feeling of letting go of it right now, but just sitting and breathing, people will find that it also lets them let go of some things. Might not happen in that moment, but it's almost like, let's say you've got a field with lots of stones in it. When the farmer comes and tills the field, it's easier to get the stones out. And so just raking the mind back and forward by just being fully in the breath, like loosens up the mind, and it's easier to let go of these things. Lou, I'm going to try and keep us in the meditative vibe that some of us got into. So, does anyone else have something nice from their meditation that they'd like to share? Zara Rin wrote in the live chat, "Thank you for the session and have a great week, everyone." Great to have you here with us, Zara. Glad you appreciated it. I'm going to share something from my meditation. We started by that talk about all the positivity inside ourselves, making space for that. And then as we were just breathing, I felt just so much more transformation in myself. I felt uplifted. I felt inspired to. I was looking at some of my habits about how I move through life, and I was remembering this last few days. I had one task that I was like, I've got to do that one, and wasn't that into it. So other stuff was getting in the way. But in the meditation, I was like, hey, I'm just going to reshuffle that I'm doing the stuff that I love, and I'm on a roll. And these words don't really capture how amazing that it felt and how uplifting it was. This just diving into my best self as what guides every moment. Just every moment of the breath was taking me there. And thank you, all of you, creating this space where I try to bring the best words out of me. And then as we meditate on it, I get to then become those best words. So thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to share? As I said, I'd love to hear from everyone, whether it's just a little thing or how you felt. Including all of you
We
out
can
there on
only
the live
strive to be our
stream.
best Mias.
Ganga, how was that second meditation for you?
Well, my mind did wander more this time, but I think it was still easier to bring it back. And then my mind would wander again, but I could still bring it back at least for a moment. When I'm just going in and out, I think it's harder to come back to that, honestly. So I think I'm going to do this instead of what I was doing in the past.
And you may remember that I said I have found it really helpful to focus on the positive parts of meditation so that we think about our meditation positively and then we guide it positively. So I would suggest anytime after a meditation, don't even think about the wandering or the expectation that it would have been perfect. Just try to appreciate all of those moments where it was still and how you learned to be more still. If that's your focus and that's what you think of in meditation, then you'll get more and more of that. Would you like to describe any of the still moments?
I don't know how to describe them, really. I mean, I'm just kind of. It's hard to describe, I think, in the middle of it, but. And I know you said focus on the positive, and I'm sorry, but it's easy for me to go all of a sudden in the middle of it. Hey, all I'm thinking is I don't know. I don't know how any other way to put it. I guess I just all those other thoughts are gone.
All the other thoughts are gone. That sounds great. That's a really good description. And your internet cut out for a
One
moment.
thing One thing I've also noticed helps with mood, as silly as it sounds, is the posture of your body. Like, if I notice that if I have my head down, if I'm slouched, I'm more prone to feeling depressed, sad, anxious, whereas if my shoulders are back and my head is in the correct position, I just have this strange endorphin rush. It's like I just feel good.
Mm.
It sounds silly, but it's one thing I noticed that helps.
We can use that in meditation, and you can also use that in life. If you ever see someone and you're like, well, that person looks happy or confident or strong, just try copying their body for a moment. And it's like this little
Mm-hmm.
shortcut into being able to feel some of what they're feeling. Mm. Thanks for sharing, Tazimo.
You're welcome.
Zanzibar, Kit Kat, Blackheart, search engine. I'd love to hear something from you.
I can agree with what others say about finding that stillness. Um, I think that's especially hard for most people nowadays with everything they have going on in life, and it's most people are just attuned to multitasking, even in their free time. You've got several different things you're doing all at once. Um, and I think it just comes down to making the time to honor first the things you find most important and setting aside time for those specifically, which is something I need to work on as well.
I love what you just said. I found it really thought provoking. Thank
Neo, your microphone seems to be cutting in and out on occasion.
you. Let me know when it happens. I'll repeat myself. I'm not really sure how else to fix it. Kit
Yeah,
Kat,
it
what?
did it like the last time you spoke before now.
Uh, mm. My one thought in response to the last sentence you said, something you want to work on, is that I hope that you can spend some time envisaging or imagining what you would love to be like. What would it feel like to be really focused on those important things? Or what's your strategy to do that? Or um, what are the actual things that you do when you're following that best self? And if you spend time imagining it, you will develop those feelings and those habits even more. Hey, Venture Neon Bunny, we just finished a meditation and we're sharing our reflections and thoughts. So, welcome. Most people have already shared. Would anyone else like to share before we go? Anyone on the live stream? Any last comments or something before I wrap up? Um, so I asked us to share if we had anything positive, nice feelings or insights, but I also want to make space if anyone had any difficulties now or any questions.
Yeah, I think it's good to force it if no one's feeling up to it, but I guess it's always good to force through it in a way. As the French say, un petit mort.
Hmm. I just know in many situations in my life where it was time to share, I thought of something that I really wanted to share, but I had to work myself up to it. So I make this time so that people can.
I think nowadays it's the opposite for a lot of people where they try to hold their tongue for what is like the truth, or they don't want to say too much lest they disrupt something.
Hmm.
It's a very different perspective, I would say, these days.
Um, well, I think we're going to then do our closing dedication. So I I know I had some moments that were awesome for me, and I hope that you can
I feel
remember.
enlightened.
Yeah. So whatever enlightenment you reached, or good practices, or changes in focus or perspective, I hope we all just take a moment to dedicate that we will grow that, we will strengthen it, we will continue to practice. If you had some nice moments in meditation, and if you give yourself them each day, they get bigger and better, and that overflows into you more and more. May we dedicate that the goodness that we just learned, that we make it bigger than we can even imagine now. That we internalize all the goodness so that we have it for the people that we care about. Make your practices beautiful. Make each moment of your consciousness an invitation to be aware and to choose. Thank you, everyone, for coming.